Ladies and gentlemen, it's me, Soul, back again for another episode of the Soul Sessions. And with me today is the Sultan of the Sky, Blanco Loco. How you doing, my friend?
How you doing, guys? Good. Going good. Going good. Still a little jet lagged, but
Oh, I expect because you were recently here in the UK doing a wee tour as well with your tag team, Level X.
yes, sir.
Yeah, how was that?
I was fantastic, fantastic. We were there for 15 days total. We got to work with some great companies. Got to work some great talent over there. And got to do a little bit of sightseeing as well. So that's always a plus.
Yeah, because I saw on your Instagram you were in doing the wee little 9 3/4 Harry Potter
Yes,
stuff.
big Harry Potter fan. I literally I have all the flags up and around. There's Hedwig over there. Pikachu.
Nice.
I'm just a huge nerd. So
Yeah. Did you do the Universal tour there, like the wee little backlot stuff?
no, we couldn't. So unfortunately, we didn't find enough time to. Because my thing is like, if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do all of it.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
and they said it's like, I think they said it was like a total of like 8 hours if you do all
Mm.
of it. And I'm just like, we didn't have the actual full 8 hours to do everything. So I'm like, I don't want to do half of it and then come back and do the other half. I want to do it all in one shot.
Oh, exactly. If you're going to do it, you go all in. Never half-ass it.
Exactly.
Well, look, first of all, for our viewers who are not familiar with yourself and Level X, tell us about yourself and your past within the wrestling business.
Oh, I mean, I've been wrestling for 13 years now. I started training up in New York, moved to Florida when I was about 21. Got the opportunity to train under Matt Seidel, under Off of the Wild Samoan. Have the opportunity to train under Ricky Morton and also Al Snow and Doug Basham as well. Recently in OVW with my tag team partner Axton Ray. Um, Ellie's been with me for about 3.5 years now, and she's done just about as much as as I've done so far in the business.
Mhm.
We've been blessed to be able to work for AEW, WWE, NXT, Raw, SmackDown, and yeah, that was our second tour that we just did. Um, I mean, we're pretty well known all over the U.S. and we're just
Mhm.
trying to expand over into the UK market, and from there further on.
Oh, hey, I'm sure we loved having you in the UK, and we'll have you up here in Scotland for ICW or something like that. Who knows in the
Oh, I
future?
hope so. Oh, I hope so.
Let's speak about your time in AEW because what I was familiarized with you was your tag team against the Acclaimed in Daly's Place on episode of AEW Dark. How was that? Going into AEW.
It was that was my third time being there. Um,
Mm.
so I mean, it's really laid back. Is the best way I can describe it. Really laid back. Very welcoming.
Mm.
But also humbling at the same time. I think sometimes on the independents, we forget, what I'm saying, what all goes into an actual show,
Mm.
especially as wrestlers. Um, so like we show up and the ring's already set up, cameras already set up, everything's already paid for. So we're just waiting to do our match in front of the fans, sign some autographs, get our pay, and
Mm.
leave. So it's like you get there and you kind of get a first hand look at what really goes into a top tier production, and it's a lot. It's absolutely a lot. So in that sense, it's definitely humbling because I mean, and before I did AEW, I'd done stuff with a lot of stuff with WWE. Um, so I already know what they do, but every company's a little bit different in the way they do things.
Mm.
So it's just overall always a great experience. Always, what I'm saying, I can't say enough good things about AEW, and I can't say a single thing bad about them, to be honest with you.
No, of course. Oh, yeah, that's great to hear. It's always great to go into a work environment and feel welcomed and, come out of it with more than you left sort of
Oh yeah.
situation. Obviously, you were against the Acclaimed, and the Acclaimed are notorious for their wee raps into the ring. I was wondering, did they ever, talk with that to you, or that was just fully like off the cuff?
um, so that was Max is just off the hip, honestly. I mean, he's always trying to think of the next thing he can say. I'd have to say we didn't get it as bad as a lot of people, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah.
And I had a lot of people that like, why he didn't really say anything bad about you, and I'm like, I was like, well, maybe he likes me, maybe he thinks I'm cool, which actually Max is a really cool guy. So, but they're so easy to work with. pulling back the curtains a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
They're very easy to work with, and they're two of the best athletes in the world. To be honest with you, I don't think they get enough credit for how good they actually are. And especially with tag team wrestling, because for so long tag team wrestling's kind of been put in the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
And then FTR came out and they were like, no, what I'm saying, like I'm gonna give them a big shout for that. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
them, the Briscoes, they came out and they're like, nah, screw this. Like tag team wrestling is a shit. That's it. It's not meant to be in the back burner. It's meant to be a mainstay, your focus. You know what I'm saying? And since then, it's been like, if you watch, no matter what company it is, more companies are really, putting their all into their tag teams as they should. So it's
Yeah.
good for it's good for me. It's good for everybody, realistically.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and obviously you're part of Level X. Just wondering, like, why do you think some people look down upon tag team wrestling?
I, I've got a couple of theories in regards to this. So I think mainly it had to do with the fact where it was getting to the point where it was just two random guys thrown in tag team together.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And they were just wrestling like singles wrestlers. They weren't wrestling as a tag team. The way we wrestle is completely different from how single competitors wrestle. So in that sense, people look at it and they're like, and it kind of turns you off a little bit because you're expecting to see something a little bit different, because tag team wrestling in a sense is a gimmick match. You know what I'm saying? It's like a tables match, like a ladders match. It's like a any kind of stipulation match. You know what I'm saying? There's different rules to the match. And there's different, you have different opportunities to win that match in different ways. So for the longest time, probably about past 4 or 5 years, you just see all these just random thrown together tag teams that don't make sense, or even if it did make sense, they didn't take the time to try to, become an actual tag team. It was always like, okay, well, you're you and I'm me, so that's how we're gonna do this, and we'll just kind of,
Mm-hmm.
we'll do one or two tag moves together, and then I'll finish with my finisher or some crap like that. And I feel like that was kind of like the slow decline of tag team wrestling. Um, and the psychology of it, a lot of people don't understand how to actually. I don't want to say do tag team wrestling. I'm trying to think of correct phrasing. I guess I'll just say how to actually do tag team wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a method to the madness, and there's also a correct way and a wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of guys think it's just about hitting cool tag team moves. It's not about that. You know what I'm saying? Like my tag team partner is literally my lifeline. That's how I
Mm-hmm.
look at it. If I'm in trouble, what I'm saying, I need to, I know that I have somebody that has my back 110% of the time to be able to tag out to, and him come in and not only be able to hold his own, but hold his own without me for a couple minutes while I, rest up and get my ass kicked.
Yeah.
And somebody that actually compliments me as well. You know what I'm saying? Like in our athletic ability, in our physique, and the way we handle ourselves, the way we carry ourselves, and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course. We've seen some great storylines from tag team wrestling. Obviously the Golden Lovers stuff in New Japan with Kenny
Oh
and
yeah.
Dakota. Then you've got recently with FTR and the Briscoes that final Supercard of Honor. That was just great as well. 5-star match from everybody.
Oh yeah.
And then WWE's tag team division is great as well. We've already got RK Bro and stuff like that. I always wondered from a tag team wrestler standpoint at WrestleMania, the Bar and Braun Strowman went into a tag team match where Braun's partner was a wee laddie, and they won the tag titles. I always wondered from a tag team's perspective, looking at that, how did you feel about that? Is it not something that bothers you, or do you think some people maybe took it a bit too seriously, or?
I think people took it too seriously. I mean, so I think in wrestling sometimes we forget that we do have those spectacle of people. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like Andre the Giant was a spectacle. Giant Gonzalez, a spectacle. Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior. Those guys were, like giant spectacle that you just saw. Yokozuna. You look at those people and like, if I went to, if me and Axton went into a one-on-one match against Yokozuna, let's be honest, he's gonna whip our ass. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and don't be wrong, Sheamus and Cesaro are not small guys whatsoever. But it's also WrestleMania where you make dreams come true.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, was it a little little, meh. Yeah, okay, cool. But you know what? That kid had a moment that he's gonna have the rest of his life. You know what I'm saying? Like, people need to just kind of set aside that, yes, okay, Braun Strowman beat two guys. Realistically, Braun Strowman probably could beat two guys easily, even if they're as jacked up, you know what I'm saying, as Sheamus and Cesaro. Who, by the way, take nothing away, they're amazing athletes, 110%. But you've seen, Braun Strowman beat 2-on-1 all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't need the kid. The kid didn't get in there and hit a bunch of moves or anything like that. If that had happened, different story. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Different story. But I mean, 2-on-1 handicap match, it's seen so much. You know what I'm saying? They gave the kid a moment,
Yeah.
And I honestly, I think maybe not in that specific, I guess, type of way, but there needs to be more moments for people. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we forget that, kids and even some adults look up to us so much sometimes that it's not even just about us performing in the ring. It's the little things before the show, after the show, during the meet and greet, stuff like that just kind of makes somebody's day. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, you talking about making people's moments. There was recently that wee girl who was dressed up as Rhea Ripley, and then it got to meet her as well. Access. It's a nice moment for the kids.
Yeah,
Have you ever had a moment? Have you ever had a moment from a meet and greet that's touched you?
I've had a bunch, to be honest with you. This UK one, I had so many. It was crazy. Oh, I don't even know. I mean, I have kids that come up and they have the Rey Mysterio mask on. They're like, I know it's not like yours, and I'm like, no, it's good. It's so cool. It's so cool. I mean, I guess with my character and everything like that, especially with Pikachu and everything like that, I feel like a lot of kids, and I've had parents tell me this. They're just like, they get picked on because they like Pokemon or something like that, and it's just like, no. So like they see like a wrestler that's in there with Pikachu, and they can cheer for him without feeling any way, shape, or form. They can just be happy and everything like that. And they'll talk, do you really like Pikachu? I was like, I love Pikachu. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a gimmick. Like, I'm literally I have literally probably 20 different things of Pikachu in my living room alone. That's not even including my man cave and stuff boxed away. So I feel like, a lot of, I don't know. I can't knock down one specific, to be honest with you. There's always just, again, I try to take as much time for my fans as I can, especially the kids, because I mean, they're the ones that, are the ones cheering the loudest most of the time. They're the ones that are, that are going to give you the thumbs up or thumbs down. So,
Yeah, and they'll be the fans of the future as well. So you've always got to treat them well. Yeah. Well, speaking of Pikachu, well, I'm more of a Squirtle guy. Pikachu's all right, but Squirtle's the best. Come on, everyone best. I came across a clip of like everyone chanting Pikachu at the ring, and I was always wondering like, what was that? So tell us the story about you coming to the ring with Pikachu and getting all this crowd stuff going on.
So the Pikachu thing started probably. I've had him for 8 years now. A fan of mine had bought him for me, and unfortunately they passed away.
No.
And I've kept it with me for so long. And I want to say it started. I dabbled, I guess, a little bit, bring him out once in a while, but nothing like I do now. But probably, I can't remember the first show. I remember, like, I'm always nervous bringing him out, to be honest with you, because I never know how the crowd's going to react. But I think it was distinctly the one time I was really worried about it was in 2019, my first UK tour. And my tag team partner at the time, who was from over there, no longer associate with him. He was always just a very negative person. He hated the fact that Pikachu was so over here in the States and everything like that. And like, he was just talking so much crap about it. He's like, it's not going to get over. They're not going to love it. They're going to hate it. You're stupid. You're going to look stupid. And he goes, I'm going to tell you that I was right when we get back. I'm like, okay. So it's like my first show was there was Fight Factory Wrestling in Lincolnshire, and wrestling Robbie X. And I'm just like, oh man, should I go out with him? Should I not go out with him? Screw it, let's go. I threw him on my shoulder, went out, boom, and the place just went nuts. It went nuts. They were chanting Pikachu. I was like, all right. And fast forward, I come back to the States, and COVID happened and everything like that, unfortunately. And one of the first big shows I came back to was Mucha Lucha Atlanta, and it's a great show. They draw anywhere from like 2,000 to 3,000 fans, and you never know. Like me, like people. Some fans will be like, "Oh, you're a luchador." I'll let them say whatever they want to say. Whatever easier for them to understand, that's fine. I don't consider myself a luchador. Consider myself more of a Deadpool, Spider-Man esque. I don't try to speak Spanish. I know I know my name is is Spanish, Blanco Loco, but I consider myself, like I said, more of a superhero type than anything. But I'm getting ready to wrestle for the show for the first time. I've been wanting to wrestle for probably about 4 years now, and the place is packed. And they got, who was it? I'm drawing a blank on the big name. They had a bunch of big names, but my debut, and I'm just like, oh, don't screw this up. Should I come out Pikachu? Are they going to understand Pikachu? Do they know what Pikachu is? And it's mostly Spanish. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like 2,000 Spanish people just waiting and waiting and waiting. My music hits, I grab them, like, let's just go out, screw it, let's see what happens. And whole Pikachu up, and the whole place again just blows up. Like, Pikachu. I'm just like, wow. Okay, let's go. And this show was no different. The UK people just, they explode for him. Now, once in a while, I'd say Pikachu is probably over 85% of the time. Sometimes it's not over, and it happens. People have different tastes and everything like that. It's like wrestling. It's it's different flavored ice cream. Yeah, he my best friend. That's one of my best friend.
The best kind of friends you ever need. Like, there's many fun aspects of wrestling's characters as well. You got like Danhausen and Kid Bandit as well, who we've had on recently. Both of them are great. Do you think people are just too protective of like keep things the way we are, 90s style, slow, strong style, and not indulge the fun, fantasy, and heroic aspects of the business?
So, I teeter on the fence with this. So funny. So I've got to meet Kid Bandit. Love Kid Bandit. I actually wrestled Danhausen before he was Danhausen.
Oh, wow.
He was Donovan Danhausen, and he was a straight, serious, just fucking. Sorry for my language.
No, go for it. Scotland.
Shoot style wrestler. And he was fantastic. But he was missing something, so he comes from that background of being that straight-laced, just, I'm a wrestler, I'm going to beat you up, you know what I'm saying? And then he transforms himself into this, dare I say, icon. Let's be honest about it, You can't say wrestling and not say Danhausen, because, that's how it is now.
Yeah.
So I think if people have problems with it, they shouldn't, But at the same time, we do need the serious wrestlers as well, I do think there is such thing as maybe too goofy. I've seen some stuff on the internet, and so I'm sure you have too. And some stuff that you're just like, I see what you're going for, but maybe you shouldn't do, too much, I guess. But I would never shy anybody away from creating a character that enhances who they are. You know what I'm saying? I've always been told the best character is you turned up by 1,000. And it's worked very well for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, Blanco Loco isn't just, a masked wrestler that loves Pikachu. No, Blanco Loco is me turned up by like probably 10,000, to be honest with you. And that's who it is. Like, I put the mask on, and as soon as I walk through the curtain, like I snap into Blanco Loco. But again, there's nothing fake about me, I guess. Some people go out there and they'll put the tough guy act on. You know what I'm saying? That's great to do that while you're out in the ring, but it's like, is that you? Do you feel comfortable doing it? If you watch some matches and like somebody kind of like gets hesitant or something like that, it's like, you don't believe in yourself, you don't believe in what you're doing, you got to find something else. There's nothing wrong with searching for yourself. A lot of people, it took forever to find themselves. Look at everybody from the 80s and 90s. Steve Austin didn't find himself until saying he went to WWF. Before that, it was Stunning Steve Austin. Before that, he was one of the Hollywood Blondes. Like that. Think about that. Think about if Steve Austin never shaved his head.
Would have been a hell of a timeline we'd have lived in. My
You
God.
know, would have been way different. You know, think if The Rock would have gotten, would have stayed playing Canadian football.
Mm,
You know,
very much. I wouldn't want to dread it. I wouldn't want to dread it. Time is obviously a hell of a thing. And I saw that you posted on your Instagram, you as a wee laddie and the evolution of yourself. Making that post, was that quite an emotional post to just see that transition of time? Or was it like, yeah, I'm proud of this sort of thing?
it was definitely emotional. I mean, to look back and be able to look back at myself and be like, damn, what the hell was I thinking? um, um, funny story about that is each of those pictures is actually taken by the same photographer.
Oh, wow.
That's Speedy, and he's the main photographer for AEW now.
Oh.
So we've kind of grown over the years with each other. You know what I'm saying? And he's been kind of an influential part of me changing who I was and trying to get better in each stage of that evolution. You see the original evolution where it's me and that Spider-Man thing with some pleather shorts, and that was me thinking, oh, I don't need to work out, and being unhealthy and being in unhealthy relationships and just coasting and just be like, I'm a professional wrestler, yay, because I did a year of training, yay. And then you look a little further and it's like, okay, still wearing the pleather shorts, still kind of, crappy mask, but it doesn't look too terrible. But now I've got some meat on me, and that was me getting away from those unhealthy relationships and unhealthy, eating habits and all that, and being like, hey, if you want to make it, you gotta work out. You gotta take care of yourself. You gotta find stuff that makes you happy and not just always be miserable. And then you go a little bit further, and it's like, okay, wow, better gear. He's got a tan now. Looks like he's got a little bit more muscle, and that was me being like, okay, well, I've taken this step, this step, this step. Now I got to take a step and just invest more into myself versus beyond a gym membership. And then you go to the latest stage where it's like, okay, what can I do that's going to tell people who I am beyond the fact of my wrestling ability, my promos, my promo shots, and everything like that? What can I do? Okay, well, I'm a nerd. I'll put that in my gear, and it's all Kingdom Hearts gear. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I told you I'm a huge nerd, man. I'm a huge nerd. As I sit on top of my Pikachu blanket, so that was just like, each and every, piece of my evolution, is just like, from change my mask. Like, this is one of the new masks, that I got.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, just, small things like this, is just like crazy. Cause it's like, don't get me wrong, all my masks are fantastic. They're made by Arrow Boy in Mexico, and he takes care of me, and he's so great. And I have so many different sets of gear. I'm staring at, I have a jacket that, Arrow Boy made that anywhere else they were trying to charge me $1,000 for.
Jesus.
Listen, I'll tell you 100%. This jacket is, would probably cost $1,000, and I'll let the viewer see it anywhere. No, I can't do that. I got to do that. So this is the jacket right here.
Oh, damn, that is nice.
And I mean, that's the rest of my gear. I mean, like this stuff right here, my Ultimo Dragon inspired shoulder pads. I mean, I have so much gear, and it's all inspired by something. Like this jacket right here is inspired by Voltron. Again, big nerd. You know what I'm saying? I have Tron inspired gear. I have gear colors from when my hometown. I have Aquaman inspired gear. Like, I always try to put something into my gear that I feel like tells who I am just a little bit. So watching the evolution and just being like, okay, you went from wearing a Spider-Man jersey to now you look like maybe you could play Spider-Man. It's kind of like, it's humbling. But it also tells me that I'm on the right path. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, of course. It's always good to see, that evolution, and now you're making it into reality, a physical product. It's going to put a smile on the face. Go about, obviously, fan of big nerd culture as well. Is there any sort of like more stuff you want to put onto gear or something like that? Or like there's a property you look at and like, yeah, that's going to be my next gear inspiration?
So I'm definitely going to do a Pikachu inspired one. I got that coming.
It should be a
I definitely
starting
want to
point.
do like some Final Fantasy stuff. I mean, I have. Oh Lord. Okay, so to show you guys and show all the fans and everybody else how crazy it gets. Okay, so for those of you that don't know me, my name is Blanco Loco. I am a Universal and I am also a Disney nerd, on top of everything else that you've heard so far. But on top of that, I am also massively into 3D printing. So, one of my favorite sets that I got recently is this. So this is
Damn.
all 3D printed stuff. And that's actually from the new movie that Jason David Frank has coming out called Legend of the White Dragon. Um, this right here, if anybody's a DC fan, you're looking at Hawkman.
Oh, nice. Damn, all 3D printed.
All 3D printed, yes. I have a great 3D print guy. If any workers are watching this and you need a hookup, let me know. I got you. He's very, very good priced. I mean,
Damn, that is quite impressive.
and on top of that, my tag team partner Axton, I haven't talked about him enough. He is a big, he's always loved Spartans. His favorite movie is 300. So, if anybody knows what WrestleCade is, it's one of the greatest and largest wrestling conventions of the year in Winston-Salem during Thanksgiving weekend. This was actually one of the helmets we wore for that. Nice. So, and again, this is all 3D printed. We have shields. I have swords. I'm looking at my Ocean Master stuff right now. I've got Thor stuff. I've got more Kingdom Hearts stuff. I've got three of Thor's hammers, bro. Like I've got, if you name it, I probably have it. You know what I'm saying? I have stuff from Mortal Kombat. I've got a Cubone skull. It's just, again, it's just so much. You know what I'm saying? Like, but again, I'm an advocate. So like, one thing I'll say about this. So like, you kind of touched on WrestleMania earlier. One of the things that I absolutely loved about WrestleMania was the pageantry. When everybody would come out and their entrance would just be so over the top that you would just watch it again and again and again and again and again because you had to. Triple H with the throne, you know what I'm saying? Undertaker with the Druids, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. It was just like, just mind-boggling because you're like, you've never seen anything like this before. I feel like it's been a bit watered down recently in the past few years. But I mean, it happens. They try to save time and stuff like that. But I always try to do that in a match. I always try to bring some sort of pageantry or, some kind of new look that I haven't debuted yet or something like that to the show. Because again, I feel like it's very underused. Nobody does it. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm probably one of the only people that uses such modified 3D print stuff. And it's not like I get that stuff like that. It comes raw and I literally have to sand it down, paint it, sand it again, paint it again, and do that all myself. So, yeah, I definitely put the time and effort in.
Quite a process. Dedication to the job, my friend. Well done. You touched on Final Fantasy, so 2 questions for that. What's your favorite Final Fantasy? And if there was a certain character from the whole history of Final Fantasy you wanted to inspire a gear on, who would you go for?
Final Fantasy 7 is my all-time favorite Final Fantasy. It is. Don't listen. I've played 7, I played 8, I played 9, I played 10, 10-2, I played 11. 12 was online, I believe, and then I played 13. And I haven't played any since because I tried playing the new ones. I didn't like the stories. I felt like they were walking away from everything that was Final Fantasy.
15 was it with the all futuristic sort of telling with it and fashionable Audis and that kind of thing.
I couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like even 10 was a little hard with the grid system and everything like that, but I still got through it because it still had kind of that, again, it's called Final Fantasy. It had that fantasy, storyline. It had a good, solid storyline. But I mean, so next set of gear that I want to base it off of, I really wanted to do a Sephiroth set, but I think Kenny Omega has that kind of cornered.
Yeah, just a bit. One in the day and everything.
I'm not against doing a Cloud one or Vincent with that new gear that I got. I might do Vincent. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I would have said Vincent as well. I feel like you could really pull it off.
Oh yeah, with that brand new gear that I just got. Ooh,
Oh,
I'm debuting that tomorrow. Oh,
let's do it. Go for Vincent, my friend. I've still yet to play 7, so oops.
what?
Yeah. I was more 13. I loved 13 and Lightning and all that kind of jazz. And then I played 15.
I couldn't get this. I couldn't. I just 13 was tough for me. 13 was tough. I'll admit that.
Ah, yes, the Corridor Simulator.
Listen, do you have a Switch?
Yeah, I've got a Switch.
Just get it on Switch. It's $10.
I'll happily spurge it for you. I'm going to buy the remake as well. When I didn't want to buy the first part and wait for all the other parts to come out.
I know, bro. I'm waiting. It's killing me because the remake was so good. So once you play the original, and you're gonna froth at the mouth to start playing the remake. Trust me.
I'll be enlightened. Let's speak about RPGs as well. Is there a particular RPG or JRPG that you look at and be like, that's the quintessential one that any one of the fans need to play?
Well, I've already said Final Fantasy VII, so definitely Final Fantasy. Absolutely underrated one, Legend of Dragoon. It was on PlayStation 1. It was so underrated. It was so good. Recent ones, Kingdom Hearts. I'm always gonna say Kingdom Hearts, no matter what.
Have you played Persona?
What is it?
Persona 5.
No, I rented that game. I rented it from a Redbox, and it didn't click, I guess. I'm weird about, I don't know. I'm very weird about stories and how they start. If they don't start with something that immediately intrigues me, like even Star Wars. Like I play Star Wars Fallen Order, and I'm kind of pushing myself through it because the storylines are so slow. I hate very, very slow storylines. There's got to be at least, if I beat something, if I beat a world, give me some kind of continuality to the storyline. Not, you got to play for 8 hours and then you get something like, it's a bit harsh.
Have you played Xenoblade Chronicles on the Switch?
I have not.
Oh, please play 1 and 2. They are, I've always said the top 5 RPGs in general is Persona 5, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, then 1, then Final Fantasy 15. I know it's got a lot of problems, but I'm just a big fan of that one. And then Persona 4. I feel like those are the top 5. But
I will try Xenoblade. I do have a few days where I'll have after this that I'll have sometimes actually sit down and play some video games.
Yeah, hey, you've got the third one coming out in September, so perfect timing. No excuses. You've got the time. You mentioned earlier about obviously with the mask and everything, everyone does simulate you being a luchador and all that. Do you feel like sometimes masked wrestlers in general can get typecast as luchadors?
I think so. Depending on the gimmick, especially. So I fully take responsibility for my name, Blanco Loco, and people being like, oh, well, that's Spanish, so you're automatically luchador. So that I understand, what I'm saying. But there are a lot of people out there that do wear masks. And they do get typecasted, and I think it's an unfair assumption. Sometimes for me, it's a fair assumption. I'm not gonna say it's not, what I'm saying, because obviously the name and everything like that, and the way my masks are made and everything, I try to do very bright, bright over the top colors and everything like that. But I think I do sometimes think wearing a mask just does constitute a certain level of responsibility as well. Because if you're going to wear it, then, you gotta remember, wrestling fans are watching. I love you. Wrestling fans don't necessarily understand everything right away when it comes to who you are. A visual is the first thing that they see of you. So that's what they're going to automatically assume. It's our job to make them understand that we're different. Now, if we're talking about promoters, explain to promoters who you are. If you just tell a promoter, hey, I'm a mask guy, blah, 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 well, guess what? He's going to automatically think that you do flips and stuff like that. And I've seen a lot of guys with masks that don't flip whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's a hit or miss. I'm like, I mean, again, if you do get typecasted as that and you don't want to, explain who you are. Again, like me. Hey, I'm Blanco Loco. I'm not a luchador. I'm more like Deadpool. Um, just funny, over the top, and saying I do fly high. Call me a high flyer all you want to, but I'm also not going to get upset if somebody's like, "Oh, luchador sensation." That's fine. If you want to call me that, you can call me that, but I'm not going to call myself that.
All right. Speaking about masks and all that stuff, there's a one type of aspect of mask wrestling is always the mask versus masks stipulation in matches. What's your feelings about those?
uh, if it makes sense.
Mm.
I've had a lot of requests to do those matches, and I turn them down. One, because it's never been, there's got to be a reason. There's got to be a rhyme. It can't just be like, oh, we wrestled twice. I want to steal your mask now. Like, no, I don't want to do that. Doesn't make any sense.
Mm.
If you want to fight me for my mask, give me a reason to fight you for my mask. I think most of the time that, especially in Mexico, I think they're usually done very, very well. I have seen some horrible ones in the U.S. And again, that comes down to what we were talking about earlier with tag team wrestling. There's just certain things that some people don't understand how to do properly. We see something, we like it, and we turn around and we want to do it. That's how that's why Botchamania is alive right now. Let's be honest.
Yeah, you're right.
It's wrestlers seeing, wrestlers, promoters. We all see something that they want to do, and they're like, oh, I want to do it, but instead of going and learning the proper way how to do it, like, again, I was a masked wrestler, called myself Blanco Loco as a kid, and I never trained to be a luchador. I never trained to be a high flyer, and then I took it upon myself to go and learn from one of the greatest high flyers in the world, Matt Seidel. So my I guess advice or feelings on it is, if you want to do it, please learn to do it the right way.
That's it. If you're going to do something right, make sure you learn and do it, then do it right, and not just shotgun it and then fuck up.
Exactly, 100%.
Obviously, Tony Khan, owner of AEW, recently purchased Ring of Honor as well, and is now rebuilding it in his sort of image. Would yourself and your tag team partner, or just yourself, want to go over there and maybe build up that tag team division?
I would absolutely love to. I'm not opposed to wherever we land, to be honest with you. I get asked that question a lot. Do you want to work for AEW? Do you want to work for WWE? Do you want to work for ROH, Impact? Everything like that. Honestly, I'm not against any of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess, especially fans, like, you have your hardcore WWE fans, you have your hardcore AEW fans, and it's like everybody thinks that wrestling can only be one or the other, and that's not true. And I'll say this, just like I say in every other podcast. I have worked for WWE, I have worked for AEW, and I have never had a bad experience at either one of them. They both took care of me greatly, and I am forever in debt to both companies.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? For giving me a platform to excel and grow, and give me the opportunity to learn from wrestlers that have done probably 10 times more than I've done, and to give me advice and everything like that, and to always feel welcome.
Mm-hmm.
If ROH, if Tony looked at us, I mean, the last time we were there, Tony himself walked up to us and literally goes, guys, that was amazing. Thank you so much. Doesn't have to do it, you know. And on the flip side, I did the Bray and Braun Swamp match from 2020, and I was one of the fight coordinators on it. Vince McMahon himself showed up to the shooting site and looked over what we did, saw what we did, looked at me and goes, "Good job, thank you." Again, didn't have to say shit to me. I'm a nobody, but he still did. So again, and any company that wants to build their tag team division, any company that wants to have Level X, we would be honored, to be honest with you. And we know that we're more than capable to do that job. 100%.
Yeah, I would love to see you guys more because I think you're fun and just entertaining as well. Um, Speaking about that bronze swap match, what was like working those conditions? Because it looked like an absolute hellhole.
Uh how do I mull around this? Um Conditions weren't bad, to be honest with you. They really
Oh,
weren't.
wow.
Um, let's just put it this way: the people that were designated to make it look like that made it look like that. Put it that
Oh,
way.
mad.
No, they again, it was great. It was a very very long day. I will say that much. Um, it started at 1 in the afternoon and it went all the way to 7:30 the next morning.
Jesus.
Filming. Um, but it was great. It was absolutely fantastic. And again, that was during one of like kind of like the peak of COVID too. And that was another thing is like during COVID, WWE had brought me in and was giving me all these extra roles to do with like Raw, SmackDown, pay per views, NXT, and everything like that. So, I mean, thank the Lord for them and taking care of me the
Mm.
way they did. Um, but no, I mean they put a lot of pride into what they do. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
they're always trying to find the best way to make it look as good as possible for the fans. You know,
Mhm.
they want the fans to enjoy it. It's not for Vince. It's not for what I'm saying the guys in the back. It's not for the investors. It's for the fans. You know,
Mhm.
and more people have to realize that no matter what company it is, you know, they're always going to be a hit or miss in something they do. You know, a lot of guys, and girls don't, they don't like, certain aspects of WWE. Those same guys and girls love what AEW is doing, but and vice versa.
Mhm.
It's like I said. I mean, wrestling is a big ice cream bar. I could go and have my chocolate. You can go and have your vanilla, and that's fine. Hell, you could go get rainbow sprinkles, and I don't like rainbow sprinkles. It's just you got to be able to enjoy everything, and I've thoroughly enjoyed my time everywhere. I mean, again, like the people that were meant to do make that place look like a hellhole, that's exactly what they did. They were very excellent at the job.
Magic, truly magic, isn't
Yep,
it? It's like Disney magic.
it really is.
Uh, what was there a particular? Obviously, you were working at WWE during the height of the pandemic when everything was just basically a ghost town, pretty much. Was there
Yep.
any particular highlight during your time working there besides the swamp match?
The swamp match was really cool. I was a ninja with Tozawa for about 3 months.
Oh wow,
So that was pretty cool. Um, got to get choke slammed by Big Show on Raw. That was pretty cool.
nice.
Um, got to wrestle on NXT a few times. The catering was fantastic. I'll be honest with you, the catering was absolutely amazing. Everything you
Mm.
could ever want. Literally, if you thought of it, they probably had it there.
Favorite meal?
um, there was nothing. I don't know. I just overall, like I said, I mean, probably the ninja stuff. The ninja stuff was most fun because we got to throw kind of our creative input into it, and like
Mm.
especially me, I'm a comedy guy. Like I love my promos are very outlandish and everything like that. So especially when they take your ideas and they're like, oh, that's actually pretty funny. Let's do that. Let's do that. That's
Mm.
funny. So yeah, probably the ninja thing.
Nice, nice. Well, let's deviate from wrestling and something that's coming up in this interview quite a lot. Kingdom Hearts.
Yes.
Every fan has this question, and I always ask it to them, and they always give me different answers. Does Kingdom Hearts have a confusing story?
No. No. No.
Oh.
No. Long story? Yes. It has a very long story. Um, does it separate into side stories a lot? Yes.
Oh.
Um, is there a bigger plot involved? Yes. I guess it's like the Marvel Cinematic Universe is the best way I can explain it. Okay. We started with Blade. Let's be honest. We didn't start with, what I'm saying? Didn't start with Iron Man. It started with Blade.
Yes.
Before anybody gets their knickers in a twist, I love Iron Man, but it started with Blade. So you have Blade, okay? Then comes along Iron Man. Then from Iron Man we get Thor. From Thor we get Thor 2. We get, what I'm saying? That's essentially how the Kingdom Hearts works. Is it starts off with Sora, Riku, Kairi. Sora's the main protagonist. And then you have your side story with Kairi, your side story with Riku, and then more, what I'm saying? Then you have all the Disney characters that have their own little side piece as well. It's the same thing. You just
Mhm.
kind of have to pay attention. Like, look what Disney's doing right now with all the stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, they just did they just did Moon Knight.
Hmm.
Not many people are very familiar with Moon Knight. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
But
but
people
good.
are already raving about it, saying how good it is. Same thing with Daredevil. Same thing with Jessica Jones. Same thing with Iron Fist. Same thing with Luke Cage. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of side stories in one giant universe, and they're not done
Hmm.
with it. So
Aye. Speaking of Moon Knight, I think you should go for a Mr. Knight attire one time.
I can't do white. I can't. It's too dirty. Get too dirty. Listen, on that gear, I was very skeptical about doing silver. So
Gets all the stains in. It's too hard to wash out.
a little bit.
Well, going back to Kingdom Hearts, is there a particular game that you look at and think it's the best?
The best one.
Don't say
So
the card game one because that's terrible.
you're talking about
Chain of Memory.
so I wasn't no, actually I did not like that one. I only played it to beat it so I could follow through with another storyline.
Correct.
I did not like that one. All right, if I go by system, I'll see. System wise, so for the PlayStation, it has to be two. The second one is
Mhm.
the best one, absolute best. For the DS, it would have to be. I guess the only one that was Dream Drop Distance.
Mm.
That was that was a good one. It was a little confusing because they brought in new elements, so that was weird. Birth by Sleep for PSP was really good.
Oh, Birth by Sleep is a classic.
Yeah, that was really really good. The 2.9 actually was really really good with Aqua's story,
Mm.
but I have to say all of them probably two. Two explain the most to me, I think.
Two is where the story like hits its peak and it starts driving along pretty well, and obviously the whole new mechanics in it as well, and all the Final Fantasy characters added in as well. What are your thoughts on three?
So a lot of people didn't like three. I liked three. I
I did
didn't
too.
like. I didn't like that they teased us with downloadable content and then we didn't get any. Was not a fan of that.
Mm.
Because they even said we're gonna have downloadable content for three, and then it just didn't happen. So that kind of threw me off a bit. But then again, who knows? Maybe they're gonna end up coming out with it for the PS5 or something. I don't know.
Oh, lovely
I
re-releases.
I liked three. I liked the new worlds. Don't mind me. It's got Amazon. Unfortunately, we get too many packages because Ellie gets literally like 1,000 packages a day. Nope, there's no Amazon. You lied to me. Three again. People were like, "Oh, three was really fast." Well, yeah, because the worlds were bigger and they put way more into the graphics and they put way more into everything. Really, you know what I'm saying? Like the function, you know what I'm saying? And they were trying a new system to make everything look better and feel and like just be that much, quicker.
Mm.
Like you either get one or the other. You can't, you know what I'm saying? Like technology only advances so far at a certain point. You got to kind of roll with it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, to finish off with Kingdom Hearts, favorite Keyblade.
How about instead of telling you, I'll show you.
Oh, this will be good. I hope it's the Nightmare Before Christmas one.
No.
Boo.
Wait. Do you mean this one?
Oh, is that 3D printed?
No, that's metal.
Oh wow, shit.
No, I'm sorry, but I mean, I could say that it's the key to unlock all hearts. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
I could say it's that one, but it's not. It's not. It's not. I could say it's one of the two Kingdom Keyblades I have, but it's not. If I had to say anything, and I had to say
The Final Fantasy VII Keyblade.
Fenrir.
Yeah. Okay. Good pick. You passed the test. I know the Nightmare Before Christmas was very good, but yeah, Fenrir is good too.
I got lucky enough that I actually got that at Comic Con 4 years ago, on sale for $60 because the guy was closing up shop on a Sunday. It's all metal. It's fantastic. And I was like, dude, how much? He's like, oh, he's like, what do you got? And I was like, I had like probably like $500 on me. I was like $60. He's like, yeah, I don't feel like carrying it. I'm like, Okay, let's do it. Give me it.
You just lowball him and hey, came out with a Keyblade, winning.
Dude, I threw the money on the table and walked away so fast.
Perfect. That is perfect salesman pitch. Well done, my friend. Well done. And we'll start wrapping things up here. But one final thing I want to ask is, what does the rest of 22 look like for Blanco Loco as well, for your tag team as well?
So I mean, there's gonna be a lot more of these.
Nice.
Disney magnets, everything like that. No, but a lot of debuts, a lot of new states, hopefully into Canada. At the end of this month, Axton Ray is debuting for GCW. That's
nice.
Great. Just a lot more pushing. You know what I'm saying? To be honest with you, that's really all I can say in regards to that. I mean, just we're getting more tag team matches, more trios matches, singles debuts, tag team debuts, returns to a lot of companies, and I keep on putting in the universe. Hopefully signed. Like it's not a necessity for us. It's obviously the goal. Let's be honest with you. Everybody wants to be signed. One way or another, but ours isn't about money. The reason we want to be signed isn't about money. It's about simply showing that we're the best.
Okay.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not by any means saying that because I think we're the best, that we're better than anybody. No, I'm saying we're the best at what we do, the way we do it. That's just stone cold hard facts. You look at Axton, you see the things that he can do. Most people can't do that. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people probably won't know who this is, but if you look up Gringo Loco, he is the base god. Axton rivals him as the base god. You look up Alex Zane or Blake Christian, guys that are known for the way they flip. Will Ospreay, Axton can rival them.
Oh, wow.
And that's just cold hard facts. And in regards to myself, nobody, and I mean nobody, all right, is as innovative as I am in regards to my in-ring techniques. So if anybody thinks they are, let's have a match.
Right. Set up and prove it in the ring. So much. And the final question here on the Soul Sessions, Blanco, what tag team do you want to face as Level X?
All of them. That's the best answer I can give, because here's the thing. Whether they're top tier guys, whether they're top guys, whether they're the baddest brothers in the business, whether they're from Aussie, whether they're from the UK, doesn't matter. We want them all, honestly. I will tell you guys one thing. We came into the UK and we had a 20-minute tag team clinic with the guys. They're named The House. They're from SWW. It's on YouTube right now. Combat Volume 6. Check it out. It's a 20-minute opener. Absolutely fan-freaking-tastic. All right. We'll go one on one with those, 2-on-2 with those guys again in a heartbeat. But yeah, we want the brothers. We want the top guys. We want the guys from Aussie who have it open. You know what I'm saying? We want the Velocity Raptors, whatever they're called. Whoever wants it, you know what I'm saying? Because again, our goal is to show that we're simply the best. And we can't do that if we're just looking at one or two tag teams. We're looking at everybody.
Oh, well, hey, I'm sure this year will be Level X this year, my friend. Don't you worry. And you've heard it here, viewers. Blanco's spoken. Find that match and watch it and enjoy yourself. Watch some good wrestling. Well, Blanco, it's been a pleasure having you here on the Soul Sessions, my friend. Been a great time. I hope all the well to yourself and a great year for you at Level X.
Awesome. Thank you so much, bud.
No worries. And viewers, remember what I always say, be kind to one another and have a good time. Peace, everybody.